Sometimes they lose the first two, come back and win the last three, though. So a little bit of a mixed bag. We'll see if they can close it out here in 4.
Yeah, I think that this fourth game, you know, is probably going to be a bit of a doozy. Taking a look at the battleground, where do we find ourselves here? It's Volskaya Foundry. LFM, they aren't afraid. They don't want Sky Temple. They don't need Sky Temple, J-How. They've got Volskaya. That seems bold to me.
It does.
Like,
I mean,
I think that's maybe a looking down the road of assuming the next map Gale Force might choose is Sky type deal, right? Like if this goes to a game number 5, they think that they're going to get Sky in their hands, but to not be picking that when that has been the #1 priority by far for LFM, and more importantly, success in play and everything alike. Well, Sky has been probably, you know, like Shrines in that kind of tier 2, we're sitting right behind it, but
there's still a game that LFM played at the end of Phase 1. Probably one of the cleanest, smoothest, sometimes you could say a little bit least action games from LFM, to where they started off with a camp, they played around the map, they gave up certain parts, they didn't step out at wrong times. And it's one of those ones where you're like, man, if I could get somebody in my team to listen and just not go out and die, and we just win a very easy game. You got the lead, so all you have to do is win easy. It was probably the easiest victory I've ever seen from LFM.
yeah.
And I'm like, this is really happening. And the other team had no idea. They couldn't do anything. And so they have something on Sky Temple that works so well for them.
It's the, you know, secret LFM sauce, man. They've got a way to work on the Sky Temple. Garrosh has been first pick across the board for LFM, but when Gale Force get in the first pick slot, they're going to take it away, not risk it over to the LFM side of things.
Oh, Fury's licking his chops now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, finally. I went full beast mode last weekend. You guys been taking it. I hadn't gotten first pick. It's my turn.
Got to be satisfied there with that Garrosh. What do we see as a response? There's so many different directions I feel like LFM can move with this. Normally with the, again, the higher priority interiors that we've seen from them over that first Shrine fight might be something they move into. But at this point too, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of just throw things out the window a little bit and get a little bit more wild with these drafts.
Cho'Gall.
That, there's a level, okay, so I said the word wild. What you're saying there is like gonzo, right? Like if the spectrum would be here, right? Like in terms of how far I was suggesting, yours is like here,
Broke it.
Yeah, it was a bit, you broke it, rebuilt it, still broke it.
If this is pre-Volskaya changes, then we could talk Cho'Gall.
Yeah, then we could talk Cho'Gall. I agree with you there.
But Protector way too strong now, and this is actually a battleground that LFM did run Cho'Gall on in the earlier part of the year because it was more of a late game map before the changes. Now, not so much, more of a wishful thinking, but more of a joke because anybody that runs Cho'Gall on Volskaya anymore, probably going to just find yourself down 16-13 at some point. It's just not going to be pretty.
Not even Blossom can make that work. Almost, though. Almost made it work there at the Eastern Clash. Genji Stukov picked up for LFM. Sticking to that offensive play, you know, we got traded on the Genji, which is going to be probably one of the higher chances here for LFM. Let's get a W, but it's into a Garrosh, so probably going to be faced with a couple of Warlords challenges to deal with. There's that Mouth Jaina here from Gale Force. Higher Jaina than we've seen from them normally. You know, they had moments where they were willing to break out the kind of Jaina here and there, but before the second ban phase, it's pretty high.
Well, I think when it comes to Jaina on this battleground, because we do look at a lot of sustain fights, Malfurion gives you sustained healing, but he also gives you a little bit of sustain in the mana department because he has that innervate, gives you that mana over towards the Jaina player. And the whole thing is, when we see Jaina picked up on the side of Gale Force, it doesn't say what their other damage dealer is going to be because both Michael Udall and Biggie have kind of evenly played this throughout the year. So it doesn't quite show their hand just yet because I feel like they still need some more sustained damage to come behind that because just having that burst, never going to be enough. So where does the sustain come from? We've seen a lot of the Junkrat still available here, but when you have Jaina and Junkrat on that backside, you're a little bit fragile, especially when you see Malfurion back there as well. So where does that protection, where does that survivability come from the next hero, or is it just going to be playing around maybe another frontliner?
Wouldn't mind if some of the protection maybe come from something like the, you know, nice little cozy bunker, which I've deemed the place Heroes of the Storm plays Hearthstone.
Yes.
Kind of get in there, you know, play a couple of cards.
Do they theme it like a tavern, though?
I think probably. A tavern-themed bunker.
I'm going to reach out. I hear there's some people that work on Hearthstone that, you know, in Blizzard, we're just going to reach out to them, be like, help us out here.
I need an inside the bunker pick perspective. Like, what does it
Draw
look
me
like?
inside the bunker. I don't know if we have that much weight, but if we say it enough, maybe somebody will listen.
Yeah. We definitely don't have that much weight.
You definitely don't anymore.
Hey! He's funny! Man, Twitch has going wild on that one. Blaze is hovered for the ban.
About as wild as your hairstyle. But Blaze, definitely here. I think, you know, obviously if you're not going to go Blaze, you deny it from the side of LFM. Blaze obviously has the self-heal. Does well on Volsky, especially those control points.
Makes the front line a bit of a question here for LFM. Who are they going to have? There's so much burst. I'm going to assume it's the Tyrael, still sticking to that. It works with the Stukov pretty well. But I just, thinking in game number 1, you know, I feel like there was enough solo sanctifications for me to go, it wasn't looking too good to get today. And I kind of just go, I'm not sure. I feel like it works the best, but again, it's not been looking too hot for LFM.
I feel, and I'm afraid, that they might go down the Johanna route.
There's the Junkrat. I feel like they're definitely going down the Johanna route now. Well, again, they have a Genji though, so like it's like, can you leave him? All right, they say yes, they can leave the Genji. You know what? You're off on your own. Goodbye, my little Draded.
Again, Johanna from them. I'm not big on Johanna. Johanna's win rate somewhere in the 30-ish% overall everywhere. For LFM, it's at 0%, and that's over a span of 8 or 9 games so far. It just hasn't looked good. You think of where Johanna comes in. If she gets slowed, if she gets tossed, she has Iron Skin to walk away. She can survive on that front side. She can hold onto control points. You can set up the Junkrat. You can set up Stukov. But beyond that, when things start to go bad, how do you get back into the game? How do you find different opportunities if you're not ahead? And that's something where we've seen Johanna struggle. With Blaze being banned out, is Sonya maybe on that backside enough to keep you within some of these fights?
All right, so with that in mind, I agree with everything you had to say about the Johanna. What if this last pick is something like that Sonya? Then it's Falling Sword Leap all in Tracer or all in Malfurion.
Where does that leave Stukov and Junker?
Well, Stukov's going to be doing what he does best, you know, creating the puddle, sitting, slapping the floor, just stuck in the back, you know. Junkrat, he's going to be doing whatever he does, you know, kind of just probably laughing, throwing concussion mines and hoping that he grenades onto the kill target. But everybody else is just one-stop shop wherever it goes. I agree with you. It's just, you know, the only other major answer, which has only happened in a small time frame in Europe for a small tournament, I think. It wasn't a small tournament. It was a big tournament, but where we saw teams willing to commit to that double dive all into the backline if you saw a non-burst healer, which Malfurion would fall under that kind of parameter, and then enough squishy targets that would be susceptible to that. Now, Jaina, she's 50-50 on that with the opportunity to move in the ice block, and Malf post 13 can deal with that as well. Tracer's mobile enough, she should never be hit by these things. But she, in fact, could. There's the Sonya. And though I've been talking about Sonya being that last pick and that this is going to be a leap and a Falling Sword, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to break it to you, I'm assuming that that last pick was definitely not with that thought process. It's probably still going to be a very traditional Falling Sword or Blessed Shield into Wrath of the Berserker.
This is the 3rd time they've gotten Sonya, I believe.
Yeah.
So they're 1 for 2 today. They're 50% when they have Sonya in their lineup, and it's something that they've had some success. It feels like it kind of gives them that punch. So we'll see if you do get that combo, the synergy you oftentimes talk about. Johanna getting the condemn, getting multiple people pulled within. The Junkrat grenades as well as that lurk. You know, maybe Sonya can get that spear, get that follow-up. Sonya also, if she lands that spear onto a flanking Tracer, which keep in mind, I've played a little bit of Tracer. It feels weird because you go into bullet time now. It's been buffed a little bit to kind of take place over Jumper at level 7, 0.15 per auto tech. You get that 0.15 second cooldown on your blink, but those blinks are on a longer cooldown. You're more of a sustain style, so you have to be very careful, especially if Sonya, if you're out of blink charges and Sonya's sitting there, you're trying to recharge those, and Sonya hits that spear post level 7, could look bad. Yeah,
especially with, you know, you might have a tiny frame Tracer, but the hitbox of an Ancient Spear is big. Hard to be able to get that dodge there. So something that we got to be keeping in mind. What I'm focusing on here in Game 4 between these teams is going to be T on that Junkrat. It is a lot of the last game when there were, you know, highlights, I feel like it was always with him being on the rest of the page. I actually kept a pretty close eye after that one Blizzard starting at the beginning of that mini wave, because that is typically the easiest communication point. And I was like, how many times do we see him on the same page? Whenever he is with the rest of the squad on what the ideas to approach the team fight, things look really good for LFM. So I want to see, you know, I don't think Junkrat is as high impact as the Jaina was in the last game, right? Not going to be as difficult, but I do think it's going to be big enough on the macro and control sense for it to be very, very relevant. And I think he's got a lot of pressure here.
Jaina on the other side for Michael Udall's had quite a bit of success with this hero so far. We'll see if they can replicate that. But another successful hero, obviously, is that Garrosh. We see Fury on it one more time. And after last weekend, going to see, I mean, it's just way too good.
What was it, like 2 minutes in, and he finishes Groundbreaker or something? It was just ridiculous. There was his level 1 talent from Fury. We hit a moment where 2 weeks ago or whatever, where he ended up hitting his level 1 at like level 4 or something. We were just like, how is that even possible?
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
His Garrosh is just ridiculous.
I mean, I know he loves this hero. He loves this hero. See if he gets a little bit of action. Fury trying to get a little bit in. Michael Udall going for globes on that front line. Dread is taking quite a bit of damage by doing that. He's got to be careful. It's kind of like that bait that you take. It's like, look, there's that globe. Nobody else is around. I guess I'll get this myself. I have this questing. Oh, I'm dead. Right? You got to be really careful, I think, when you do that. It's normally, you know, Tank's job or somebody with a little bit more mobility to kind of walk up there and take the risk.
LFM in the rotations went up, decided to take the support camp. We see a bit of a different answer there for Gale Force, instead invading over that turret camp down below on bottom. This is something we saw Tempo Storm do a lot on Volskaya Foundry, put heavy emphasis towards that bottom lane, double, triple, quadruple turrets.
Nobody wants to fight into those turrets. Where's positioning, hiding in that bush. He's just looking to set up anything. Obviously getting that lurking arm down is kind of the name of the game. They're just not, it just feels like when you run the Johanna, your early aggression that you might want to be thinking about is slim to none. Like there's just not a whole lot you can accomplish. You get displacement, you can get the lockdown, but without the Sonya there, I feel like your burst damage is going to be lacking.
Oh, there's actually a huge adjustment, you know, when looking at level 4s in this game that I normally don't talk about too much because it's become the standard on Johanna. The opportunity to go into, what is the official here? Sins Exposed. With the, rather than moving with the standard here, wow, as this skirmish kind of unfolding, the standard that we currently see is going with the mobility on Condemn, right? What is the biggest problem that I have with Johanna? A lot of people have with Johanna most of the time, but definitely me, I bring Initiation. That talent used to be sitting, I believe, at the 7 talents here.
Yep.
And it was the trade-off versus, you know, the momentum versus the CDR on your W. But then by moving to 4, it was like, oh, the trade-off isn't bad enough, and you can make up for that very, very forgivingly. But we see LFM commit against that. And I'm not going to say that I think that it's a must-have talent, but I will look at that and say that it is going to be the entire game. If you see moments where you go, LFM wants to force this fight, you have to ask yourself, is Blessed Shield up? Because if the answer is no and there is no leap, then there is no team fight. Genji has to force it in some way, shape, or form, or Stukov has to. Granted, Stukov's pretty good at that, but still, do you want to put that much pressure already onto a Ware?
I know somebody else who can initiate for you. That is a Garrosh. He is on the other team. He will willingly throw you into the fray on your side, into the fray on the other side. There's a big 3-man Groundbreaker sitting at 10 out of those 15 stats.
Oh, 2 more to that. Now we're 3 out.
7 picked up. It is that bullet time again for Tracer. New meta. Everything else pretty standard across the board for Gale Forces. LFM still trying to reach that 7 tier.
Full Icelands build out of Jaina. I think it's not full, but more Icelands build.
This early Protector, they had to get off point. No 7.
No commitment from LFM.
I mean, the early Protectors are terrifying in terms of the amount of structure damage that they can do, but I guess if you pick it up super, super early, maybe it neutralizes some of the potential damage, but the amount of damage that we see on this front wall in a span of 15 seconds, although I feel like they're eating way too much damage towards the tail end of this.
Definitely aggressive positioning after a very, you know, fruitful first couple of seconds here over this Protector. Now make the standard rotation to the top front wall. Look to get this, take the side wall, look to take the well. This is definitely not as much as Gale Force should have looked to get out of this. I definitely agree with you. Taking a little bit too much damage.
They didn't prep any of the minions. I mean, you have so much time to just kind of prep the minions, move everything forward. I mean, the towers, when you are this early in the Protector phase, the health pool's not that high.
Jao, I have a serious question.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a super giant mecha robot to be able to get into and fight?
I mean, no.
The answer is it's really hard to have any kind of self-control whenever you have that, okay? So until you have shared that kind of perspective.
So you have?
Yeah, I have had a super mega robot once in a while, you know?
Where in the world do we find this? Can we, like, is there like a park? Like, I know we're in LA, but like,
I wish, dude.
We don't have this stuff in Florida and originally in Kentucky. We ride horses.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's just, no, I agree with you. The way prep there, not for Gale Force. They didn't get nearly as much of that. I don't want to say nearly because they got the standard, right, would be double wall. It's like how they went through it. They definitely kind of brute force approached that to the point where could have been punished on the side of LFM, but not enough to really gain them too much. Gale Force now sitting with the snowball with the 10 spike. This is where, you know, normally Gale Force would be looking for that top 4. Let's see if they end up commit to it. They're going to start with the support camp.
You know, you mentioned the level 4 for Johanna. She's actually still going into the Shield Glare build and Zealous Glare. So it increases the duration of Shield Glare by 0.5 seconds. And every time you auto attack, it increases that up to 3 seconds. So see the Pulse Bomb going on to Figgy. Nice toss back after the Iron Skin was used there, committing everything as Twilight Dream goes down. And that is Figgy dropping there on the Johanna.
I like the fact that all of those crowd controls, though there were a lot of resources used by Gale Force Esports, they were still cleanly done. You could tell communication on point. Nobody stacked their CCs whatsoever, and it was just enough to be able to get the kill. That in mind, you got to be asking yourself, a Johanna this early on, is it worth it? They're just trying to capitalize on that 10 advantage. But this is a moment where I would argue, you know, that support camp that they took, that Fury's still holding on to right now, that time could have been spent on that fort beforehand, and I think that I would have liked to see that from Gale Force. But again, it by no means is going to set them back. They're very comfortable within this match. They have the top lane pretty well prepped. They're winning the race to 13. They're looking for that Control B spike. I mean, things are looking good, and they have a well advantage.
You mentioned the 13. It's something we actually saw yesterday before we saw a comeback, is that conceivably Gale Force will be 13 when the next control point spawns. LFM will be approaching 12, 12 and a half, and then they'll have to play towards 13. But Fury is trying to delay that a little bit as he gets a 2-man taunt. The big-time blow up there as Michael Udall joins the fight. Figgy, he should be able to walk away from that, but another play here by Fury on the Garon.
13 spike's not going to be perfectly timed, but it will be pretty close, especially, you know, with the loss of T in that top lane.
That tower, you can see them pinging there that wasn't taken down by that protector earlier, will likely fall here pretty quickly as the camp moves in here with the minions. Maybe. I'm surprised they haven't committed that. It's that extra little push that would get them 13.
Right now what you can do is leave it there, wait till LFM thinks that that fight is worth it, dang. Tracer go in, slap it once, hit the 13, get the spike, and then force the fight. Also even heal you a little bit in the middle of the fight, something that people don't consider because your maximum HP increases.
I mean, it's free, and they are so close to 13.
Yeah. So, like, right now, right, you would force the fight, Tracer go in, slap it, and be like, okay. But either way, they don't force, but now they will. Having the 13s, Jaina not able to hit that Ice Lance, maybe not going to matter. Flip, no taunt used yet. Iron Skin.
The Iron Skin is worn off, which means the Water Elemental starting to gain value as the slow there. Figgy not able to make it away, but Draded coming in, the X-Strike dropping down onto Fury. The Blizzard, though, dropped down in return. That's going to be Junkrat falling swabs. He's going to be able to walk away, but Will Draded, he's on a treadmill, and he is going nowhere fast.
Oh, that was such a sad picture there, Draded. You could see he like looks one direction. He's like, oh, that's a lot of Gale Force Esports. I need to get out of here. And then you're like, quick, you know, use the standard Genji mobility. He's like, wait, my Cyber Agility, my Switch Strike, it's all off cooldown. I know, I'll use the classic method. I'll run, and then can't get past it.
It's like in a nightmare where you're trying to run, except you're literally going nowhere.
And it's just hovering over top whatever that thing is. He's like, not Gale Force Esports, no.
He's going to be having nightmares at Gale Force tonight if they don't pull off this comeback, because Gale Force Dreadnought moving up. They had the 13 talent tier. The minute that hit, they walked right in, took that fight, got 3 kills. We're looking at 14-12. Protector about to be picked up unless LFM gets desperate, really tries to push in. But we're going to look at that 16 tier going to the next control point. LFM's got a lot of work to do to catch up.
Yeah, and we're not even considering the reserve experience that exists over the middle fort, which is very close. Hold up, flip, taunt. Good night, T. Not much else you can do about that.
My favorite part about this, and I think it's a good learning experience, you brought it up multiple times about T earlier, is saving your cooldowns. If you're a mage player or you're that big time, you have longer cooldowns, you wait. Allow your tank to get the setup. Allow them to kind of initiate for you. Hold all your cooldowns. Get that 1 kill. 1 kill is going to be far more worth. You see a lot of people, they'll be on Jaina, they'll be on Gelthos, throwing things out, just trying to land. But if you wait, for your tank, results generally going to be better.
Gale Esports. They get the 16 off of this turret. Actually, it's going to be, I don't think it's quite there, but now it's there. All right. They're going to hit the 16 off of this, see if they try and force.
They're looking for an early keep, but I think they're going to back off. They took a lot of damage in the middle of that. They have 30 seconds left on this protector. As you said, the reserve experience instantly goes down there on the fort, and that's 500 XP there. To that cumulative total, they'll take down the well, and then they'll look to do the same thing that they did to the top lane. They're going to try and take down the fort wall here on the bottom, look to take down the well. But when you have this much of a lead and this talent tier advantage, they might actually try and move in directly onto the fort.
I figure, I mean, likely this fort, I personally consider dead already, right? Like, I mean, this is inevitably going to be a double fort over the 16 advantage, or triple fort, if you will. And then at least a keep front wall damage for Gale Force. And it's likely that you want to prep the bottom keep above all else, knowing that control point C is going to be on bottom. We talked about that.
Well, Iron Skin already used. Figgy stepping forward. He's got to be
Traded.
Very careful.
Also, waiting on the side there as you see him up above next to that conveyor.
I mean, LFM has so much to do to come back. And you have to look at it not just because of the experience, just because of the levels, but because structurally they haven't done any damage so far to the side of Gale Force. So even if you take a team fight, you still have to work your way through, and you've got a fight on your hands here, 17 to 14. Here it goes.
Riptire out. Malfurion, that's a nice block. You never want to escape. Oh, Twilight Dream immediately after. Going to lock down 2. Already Genji's been removed from this world. Johanna going to share the same fate there. 2 kills over to Gale Force Esports. Now likely they're going to be able to move up. One of these forts keeps something. Structures have... Kills have been everywhere. Structures not so much for Gale Force, you know? They don't have the best siege in the world, which is part of the reason. Like a Jaina Tracer is not, you know, your best kind of take-out structure combo team, but...
Oh, one blink too far. I've been there, Biggie. I don't do it in front of thousands of people watching.
Yeah, you know, the difference between you and me is you have an audience that actually wants to watch you carry on Tracer.
It happens. Look, I've played a lot. I've seen a lot of Tracer games. You blink, 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 and you thought you had the perfect timing to land that pulse bomb. You go just past the character model because you're usually having that pulse bomb on quick cast, and then you just kind of miss it. It happens, but again, you have an audience.
I don't play Tracer, so I don't have those kind of feels as much. But to be honest with you, she's one of those heroes that afterwards I was like, why have I never played this hero like that much? Like, you know, never gotten into it. And then she got the changes coming in, and I was like, I don't really like the idea of slow scaling Tracer. Like, I wanted to be the kill everything Tracer. Like, that's what I wanted to play.
I like playing her.
LFM is in a position here where they're being given, in my opinion, quite a bit over this section of the map. Gale Force, you know, with this 16 window advantage that they've had, they really haven't gotten anything, right? This bottom fort, we were talking about this.
Should have been gone like 2 minutes
ago, right? And it's still here. And so Gale Force is like kind of just, you know, they're comfortable playing it slow here. And then the LFM's probably not going to punish, but it is, again, one of those moments where I look at this and I go, Gale Force is really kind of forfeiting over a lot here.
Water Elemental was used. The 16's been picked up, so they're going for the re-engage. They still have the Healing Pulse. They actually have 2 of those. You can see the Pulse Bomb miss. This time, a misplay. Swabs, though, getting solo. The Twilight Dream's going to lock down Johanna for the moment. Healing everywhere as we see the root there onto Draded. He's using that agility out. Fury's just walking forward like, look, you guys got this on the backside. I'm going a little bit further. Let's see if we can make it work. Nice into the fray. B-Kid, see if he's got the tongue to land. He does. Perfect execution by Gale Force, and they are just dominating LFM this game.
Yeah, nice attempt there with the lurking arm to buy an appeal for aware, but it wasn't enough to zone out Gale Force. Gale Force with that victory over that skirmish, immediately make the rotation up to join the minion wave that is already, you know, thankfully getting the damage onto the keep. With this 20 talent tier advantage, first keep of the game, and Catapult split pushing on the opposite side of control point C. Now, we talk, yeah, that bottom fort. All right, so let's go back and talk about this thing. Yeah, that little sucker, that one standing up right there, that thing better die before Gale Force Esports consumes the entirety of this thing, or I will be one sad commentator, Jay.
So the reason, I think, obviously that keep gets you 20, it gets you map control, but if you're Gale Force, you got to be thinking, all right, I'm ending the game with this next protector. And by doing that, you get those 3 kills. Instead of rotating top, you rotate to that bottom lane, take the fort, take the keep wall, because you'll have so much time to be able to do that. then that Protector has the path of least resistance in that bot lane because he only has to go through the keep. You don't have a speed boost on that Protector to make it all the way to the top lane. I mean, conceivably, you can walk up there. But you could have just cleared bot, gone down, maybe ended.
I don't mind moving top. I don't mind moving top for the 20 advantage and still doing the same thing. But do not tell me that this thing is going to be picked up with the opportunity to move through that and then kind of defense around that. It looks like it's going to be the case here.
Turrets just firing on each other. Those are being cleared up. Biggie trying to make the plays, and there's Swabs. He's in very deep. He's getting the heal, and now Draded coming in. X-Strike bringing it down. That's a double kill there. This is a 20-17 fight, but Udall lands the huge root there, getting multiple people. The isolation onto Figgy all of a sudden. Gale Force has turned it around. Big time play there by Michael Udall.
That was such a huge riptire coming out from T. He was just too far out afterwards to make any kind of value into that team fight. Great play there, and huge root, as you said, out from Mike Udall. Gonna net Gale Force Esports, their first Protector. Or not first Protector, third Protector. Catapult sieging towards top.
Skip
my.
past.
Oh, where? No. He can still take this 1v1 if he takes the trade once Jaina gets a mount up. You know she's got to move through the minions.
There's 8 seconds before Sonya's back. The Protector down at 80%, but the shields on this core starting to fall. This Protector is strong, but is it going to be strong enough? Sonya is back. Shields are down. It's Garrosh and Dahaka in this, 88% and falling. The Protector doing damage, 70%. This looks like it should be enough here for Gale Force.
Yeah, it looks like it will be enough with that Dahaka Garrosh. Not even need the remainder of that Protector. Mike Udall able to keep himself alive with Draded. Getting desperate there for LFM. Gale Force Esports will end up, well, you know, taking about as much time as they can, but they will end up taking Volskaya Foundry and will win the series here 3-1 over Looking for More Esports. Though, I want to say the expected result, maybe you could even argue maybe the expected number when it comes to the matchup itself, especially with the lack of 3-0s that we get out of Gale Force Esports. But Gale Force has to be thankful to at least, you know, be able to say that they remedied the results of the first time these two teams faced, because this was LFM's one win over Gale Force Esports.
Sometimes you just need that Game 3 wake-up call. Gale Force apparently needs it multiple times to close out some of these series, but I mean, Gale Force does continue their winning here. I mean, outside of that loss to Heroes Hearth, which was a crushing loss, but it did go all 5 games. They've now picked up victories over top opponents like Team 12. No tomorrow, obviously. After that Heroes Hearth series, picking up the expected win here. This is what they needed. They continue to further themselves. They actually move over 500 with that record. They're completely out of Crucible range. But after the results yesterday and what we might see continue to evolve here, they might be going from that 5th spot, Dreadnought, climbing up to that 4th or 3rd, making the playoffs maybe a little bit easier if they can keep up the winning.
I feel like the perspective for Gale Force Esports is going to be really interesting as we're waiting, you know, to get big impact online. What we do is just like from my point of view, Gale Force has moments of success, right? They're pretty humble. They're pretty realistic with a lot of their play too, right? Like whenever they end up getting a win, going, should we have gotten that win in this type of situation, in this type of manner? And when we look at today's games, again, after they have that kind of heightened results over last week, and then playing LFN, not only just for the fact of losing that one, but if you go back and look at Dragonshire, there is, again, no reason you should be given that game in that kind of way, shape, or form. And it's just going to be interesting to see, do they kind of look at it in the same direction, or do they very much, you know, kind of the opposite and just view it as like more of a bad draft, not so much the play or anything the like? But we do actually have, I think, big impact here on the line here. Biggie, are you with us?
Yeah, what up?
How's it going, man? Congratulations here after today's results. And you probably caught a little bit of what I was saying there before, but I just got to ask, you know, after results that you got last weekend and then coming here up against LFM, you know, what is you guys' satisfaction with your own, you know, performance here up against LFM?
We're pretty satisfied. I mean, it could have been cleaner if we won the last game, but we got picked here and there, and we couldn't close it out 3-0, but it was still pretty clean, and I'm happy with that.
I've got to be asking on a, you know, kind of personal level here. You definitely, especially when looking at last week and this week, it seems like you are really turning up and showing up for the team, along with, you know, kind of Fury up on the front lines. Is there, you know, any, you know, secret to that, or are you just feeling good this week?
No secret. It's just hard work and dedication, and we've just been practicing how we want to perform in tournaments, and it's showing.
It seems like Mike kind of talked last week about, you know, practice like the play is a lot of the mentality here for Gale Force Esports, and that is that still kind of the mantra you guys have chanting and have been, you know, using within skirmishes to get better, or is there, you know, something else has adjusted since we tuned in with you guys last week?
I mean, it's pretty much been our mantra. Like, we were pretty trolly the first half, like when we were practicing and stuff, so we started picking our slack up and being more professional.
It's been honestly amazing to kind of see that growth. You and Heroes Hearth Esports, it's been ridiculous to see that kind of unfold here in part number 2. JL, you got anything?
Yeah, Biggie, you talk about the professionalism, and I kind of alluded to this last week when we talked to B-Kid. It was about kind of alleviating some of that pressure now that you guys have basically moved out of that Crucible range, but now your sights have to be set on more. We've seen the shakeup at the middle of North America so far with some of the wins and losses lately, including your win over Team 12 last week. Where do you see this team as you kind of prepare for the playoffs potentially? Where do you see this team in terms of your potential seeding now that you've had this recent success?
I don't think realistically we can get first anymore, right? So we want to try to get at least third. Like that's our goal, and we're making jokes that we're gonna go to Chicago to Fury's mom's house to just boot camp and play from there because we're gonna play all Central matches. But we'll see.
Well, you talk about that. Obviously, Dreadnought was talking about Fury, but with the play, I've been noting for you in particular as well, this is kind of doubling up on that, but your play since we've come back, you're averaging over 3.5 kills a game. You're doing it week in and week out now. When we see your hero pool, we've seen kind of a more narrow focus, the Junkrat for Michael Udall, more you on the Genji and the Tracer, things like that. Was that a focus for you guys coming back from the Clash? You said the trolley attitude in scrims, but in terms of drafts, it feels like you guys are doing it different. How much of that has helped you?
I mean, it helped us a lot. We're just kind of trying to figure ourselves out, and we finally found our play style as a team and what heroes fit us best. Because not every team's gonna be the same, and we kind of found us, you know.
And you got to look at them going forward. You look at the top teams like Tempo Storm and Team Freedom, 2 members that you still have to face going forward. What do you make when you look at your future against those teams and your potential, wins or, how that plays out?
If we keep practicing how we practice and we keep working hard and just play the way we play, we should give them a hard time.
Well, you guys have given everybody a hard time so far coming back from the break. You guys obviously picking up a few wins. Congratulations this weekend. Look forward to you next time.
Thanks.
Biggie,
thanks.
On Friday, we have you up against Simplicity. Judging by the fact that, you feel like you guys are willing to go toe-to-toe with the top of North America, I assume you got to be confident going up against them. But, what are your thoughts about that matchup next time?
Confident against anyone. I mean, we just play every team like it's another game, and we just play well. It's easy.
No secret strategy, just get that practice. You practice like you play, like you guys have been kind of running?
Yeah, as long as we don't do like some medevac cheese or something dumb, like we should have that pretty easily.
Okay, thank you very much, Biggie. And the floor is yours for shoutouts if you got any.
Shout outs to my team. Shout out to Akka for stepping up and drafting, and shout outs to you guys and to my family and friends.
Congratulations once more here, Biggie. And thank you very much here for talking with us. Gale Force Esports earning another win. And, even hearing the shout out there towards Akafe stepping up as the drafter. Akka has been in and out of that role for a long while, I feel like, for Gale Force Esports. We praise him, on the front line, or with him and Fury, the back and forth there, and also the play out of big impact. But even showing, coming in with the smarts, a little bit of the brain there.
It was last year. I think it might have been at BlizzCon. We were just off at like some random event. And I'm sitting there, and me and Akaface, and I'm talking. I love to theory craft, obviously. You know my love for Sylvanas, but sometimes we'll just kind of theory craft about a lot of stuff. But Akaface starts theory crafting stuff, and I thought I was crazy. And I'm like, man, like he's coming up with all these equations of like, here's how this can work. And I'm like, look, man, I believe in crazy, but even I think you might be crazy. Obviously, he's drafting quite a bit meta, but his formula to success is working.
No, I thoroughly enjoy some of the, how deep into the rabbit hole I can end up finding myself whenever talking theory craft here with Akaface. Definitely, a smart mind that we have here in HGC North America and netting Gale Force Esports another win. But, we have another series here today in HGC North America. Coming up next is going to be Heroes Hearth Esports. And oh my goodness, I forgot my other team. What is it? Hold
No
up.
Tomorrow.
Oh, No Tomorrow. I had him say it to me, the guy in my ear. And
tomorrow, no tomorrow, but today, no tomorrow.
Notes. Come on here. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, Heroes Hearth Esports taking on No Tomorrow. Fury will keep him up. Power